So we're back for Last of Us
with the
and
PUBG Cup.
PUBG. I don't even play PUBG. I don't even know the last game I played. Actually,
Last of Us 2?
It was The Last of Us 2, actually. Welcome back to another Last of Us. This is just a quick, before the video starts, warning that since it took me forever to edit this episode, there is a lot more information that's come out since then. So half of our talk is going to be a little out of date, but it's just us having fun again, speculating about the things that we had seen. So apologies ahead of time. So there's going to be some things that we say that are probably extremely off base, because as far as we knew when we recorded this episode, we were thinking maybe we might get a little bit of Jackson, but since then we've seen a lot of HBO budget being pushed into the town of Canmore in Canada. I hope I'm saying that right. And it looks like a massive amount of effort they're putting into it. So it's more than likely that this Jackson period in the first season might be an episode or two before Joel and Ellie continue their story past there. We now see the bridge, and that Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey were filming near the bridge. And so it looks like they're probably going to be coming upon Jackson. They'll see the bridge and decide to cross it. They might run into Tommy and them on the bridge and then be escorted into Jackson. So in the video ahead, we're going to just discuss Kim Tembo, the character, and bring her into our thoughts for the first season, largely incorrectly, because it looks like she'll probably just be a prominent figure in Jackson. And we were going into other crazy theories about who and what she could have been and how we are seeing what could happen in the season. So fair warning, there's going to be some crazy tinfoil talk here. With that out of the way, here's Randall and myself discussing what we discuss. We're talking about, what are we talking about? We're just talking, I guess.
Well, I saw there was new, you informed me that there was new leaks to look at, and I just glanced at them a few minutes ago, and I've entirely lost the fucking page.
The stuff that's the most interesting to me so far is what appears to be Jackson stuff. Did you see some of that? Okay.
I saw like a big A shape almost. It's not quite an A frame, but just in the middle of the town square.
In the original Last of Us game, they don't stop really at Jackson. They swing by the dam. Ellie runs away. They have their hardcore, like, emotional moment, and then they actually come together again. And Tommy says, "Come on down," whatever. Kids be watching movies tonight or whatever because they have electricity. And they say, "Nah, my mind's all mained up," and they're going to, Bighorns, Denver, something.
Denver.
And then it's kind of, they just go and you don't see it again. Even at the end, when he tells the lie, they're just looking down at Jackson. So you don't see it in the game, in the first game.
Yeah.
But in the show, we might get an episode of Jackson.
Safe to say, because Druckmann said he just left Canada, he's done. This
Yeah.
part, which we heard was episode 3.
Yeah.
That was some of the things. So that's probably, we're guessing roughly when he's going to meet Tommy.
Yeah.
And when they're at the dam and everything. And then I'm seeing new people popping up on my IMDb. And character I didn't know the name of.
I remember seeing that they had casted her.
Kim Tembo.
You want to hear some crazy theories that Abby's and Jerry are going to be like African American or of African descent or whatever, for no other reason than maybe they found a good actor. They've done whatever with Joel. He's Pedro Pascal, and that's fine. That's great. And that would be cool to just find a cool actor. But she looks too old to play Abby. Tembo, that's the character?
Yeah.
Because Abby doesn't need the same name. Joel and Ellie didn't need the same names. Jerry, Marlene, Tommy, no one needs the same name.
No, they don't.
They don't even need to have the same essence of the character.
You know how, it's funny you say that, because I would actually been kind of mad, like, why the fuck is his name Joel? Why is his name Mike?
Yeah.
And it's the exact same all the way through, but it's Mike and Sasha. Fuck this shit.
Yeah.
And I would have been a little mad, but you're right. It doesn't matter what her name is. Yeah. Honestly, it doesn't matter if she's black, white, Portuguese, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
As long as the story holds good.
As long as
I was
she's,
having that weird moment of like, why don't they just write better black characters ends for black characters to play? Why are they always turning characters different races? And like inside, we're like, it doesn't matter. Tell me a good fucking story.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter what they sound like. Because
yeah. Well,
no, it doesn't. Because they could have somebody could have a weird. I don't know how it'd sit. Let's say Abby out of nowhere has a real like Southern hick accent, y'all, and it's like, I guess it doesn't matter how they sound.
They could run into troubles where it looks like a racist white chick is killing the Mexican guy.
Oh,
Yeah, I wouldn't be offended. We're significantly have some Latino in us, but like I wouldn't be offended at all. But I'm just saying some people will find a weird connection if that was true. Yeah.
But looking at Pedro Pascal to me, other than in Game of Thrones, I guess I don't know. Most of the time, I don't even see him as Latino. He just seems like just some white guy, even though I know he's not.
If I found out he wasn't actually Hispanic and it was something else, like some version of, I don't know, Greek in there or something. Oh, okay, wow. I'm surprised, but not super surprised.
It's kind of like when you see like a shampoo commercial for women's shampoo. Like it's just a woman of indeterminate race. Sometimes she could be a mixture of like 8 things, or she's white. She could be Hispanic. And so everybody feels included in the commercial.
And you're like, wait, what was the commercial? Oh, shampoo. I was just looking at, like, I was so drawn up in what race was she?
Yeah. Pedro Pascal's that guy. Like everybody can get a little piece of him. It's like, he could be anything. He's androgynous race-wise.
Yeah. I almost thought the same thing looking at Bella Ramsey. She almost looks like, because she's, Scottish or something? But she looks like there's something else in there. I don't know. But maybe she's full Scottish. I saw Druckmann was talking up her fierceness, I think it was is the word he used. And because he finished rapping, there was that picture of the slate that he posted.
I want to steal that.
I saw her in a short film. I already forgot what it was called.
3 minutes of silence or something like that?
Something like that. I showed you part of it. And she's really good in it. Like she's really quiet and reserved, and then she starts getting more outgoing by the end of it. But it showed some of her range, but it also showed her like presence on screen. Like it was a good way of me seeing like a screen test. Like people have seen Cillian Murphy, who was in 28 Days Later. He played the Scarecrow.
Yeah,
he had a screen test as Batman.
Really?
As Bruce Wayne and as Batman, and just to see how he looks on screen, because that can kill it. Like a director can have someone picked, and then the screen test, he's like, it's just not right.
Not the Bat.
I saw Gal Gadot's for Wonder Woman, and that was really good. She was Ben Affleck for the best movie ever. This short film with Bella Ramsey was a way of
to use a screen test.
Yeah, for me to see Ellie before Ellie. Like I pictured her. This is like early Boston because she was like doing government school stuff in Boston.
And honestly, in the video, it looks a little like when she's standing for wait for the bus, it looks like a little apocalyptic.
Yeah, it did.
It didn't look clean.
And I bought it. I bought her as Ellie. But what's funny in that short film, there's like the other girl.
Oh yeah.
She's like a boxer and she's got blonde hair and is kind of in a pony. She kind of was like a weird British Abby for a minute. I was like, whoa. I don't know. It was just a way of me seeing like someone's fan version, but it's like, oh wait, that's not actually Ellie though.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she's great. I think she's gonna pull it off. I really want to hear her American Boston accent or whatever it is.
Well, would there be a Boston accent? Just because all these people are in Boston, Joel's not from Boston.
Yeah,
These
I know.
Could all be transplants.
I think there was kind of an indication that she is from the northern area, probably her whole life. Not from Boston though, because I read this comic book that's in the canon apparently, and she did eventually arrive like on a bus or something.
Okay, but even if she's from there,
yeah, she doesn't need the accent.
It doesn't mean anything because it's been how many years? 20
totally,
years?
I totally agree, but who knows what they're going to do.
She was born years into an apocalypse where people moved around so much. Even if she was born in Boston, her parents could have been from South Dakota or Wyoming. Mm-hmm. I just want to say one thing about the fierceness you were saying.
Yeah.
That Druckmann brought up of Bella Ramsey. And I'm really hoping that was something he said after working with her.
It was.
Okay, because I was thinking, please don't tell me you saw that beforehand. You're looking at Game of Thrones with her like,
yeah. What sucks is that's what a lot of people are seeing.
That's what I first heard. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. So I can encourage anyone who hasn't seen her in anything else, watch the short film. I guess we'll link it below. It's a good way of seeing her out from being Lyanna Mormont. It's seeing her do something else. You'll see that she has range. Druckmann's not talking bullcrap. He probably really saw her pull it off. If he's directing episode 3, realistically, if season 1 is game 1, which people have been saying, that's probably Bill territory. So they're in his town that's movie trapped. So he's seeing her be like angry with him, but kind of like I'm already on Joel's side because they already went through all the Tess stuff. Who knows? Tess might survive till season 3. I don't know. Or sorry, season 3, episode 3. So Tembo, the character.
Yes.
What if that's Henry?
Henry
and Sam?
Yeah, that could still
Female
work
Henry.
the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be cool.
People would have less disdain for the moment when he runs off on once they're helped on top of the truck. Because
Yeah.
people are like, oh, it's a woman and her daughter or sister. People would be less, fuck
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, which it's a screwed up moment, but like a lot of people, that's what they do. I mean, I get it. I kind of get it. I don't know if I would have, maybe would have.
Think Shane in Walking Dead coming back with that guy and he's all got the gimpy leg and he leaves him behind to get eaten.
Oh yeah,
I would do that kind of shit all the time if I had to.
Yeah.
Like
I thought you were talking about him and Randall.
They say you don't have to be faster than a bear. You just have to be faster than the slowest guy in your group.
Oh, it's I got honey all over my knees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's all the sweet stuff.
I did see it's all the honey. I was gonna say I saw Bella Ramsey in something else aside from that short film and
Yes.
Game of Thrones. I don't remember what it was called. My niece was watching a TV show. It was like a kid's like Disney show or something, and she was just on there. And she was just another kid on the show. And I don't know if she's in the series or if
When
it was
was
just that
this?
episode a couple years ago. And
okay.
I was just like, I stopped for a second, like, what the on a Mormont.
Okay.
And I just sat there for a minute, and I'm like, weird. She's not just sitting there mugging.
Yeah.
It's just different. So I'm like, okay, she ain't not like you're going to see supreme acting in a Disney kids TV show, but it was something other than.
And well, the acting is probably heightened to that fun level, anyways. So
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna kill it. Pedro Pascal. I've said this in like all of our videos. When episode 1 is airing, as soon as the first frame of him is on screen, he's Joel.
Yeah.
And it's done. There's no other Joel. I mean, the video games will exist, and I think I'll probably still like them maybe better. I hope, because they're.
I
amazing.
hope not.
Well, I hope not. I hope it's so good that. But anyways, he will be Joel. He will be such. He'll have such a presence, and I think the same for Bella Ramsey.
The reason people might have the same issue, it might be harder with Ellie, is because in the games she looks a lot like Juno from the movie Juno.
Yeah.
And
like
so
just Juno minus 3 years, except for Bella Ramsey is like we've already talked about this. I think she'll be aged up just a touch. There's speculation everywhere. If season 1 is game 1, which is going to be the beginning of almost every sentence I say, season 2 does not have to be game 2. Season 2 will be a weird version of the flashbacks from game 2 mixed with new material about interesting characters in Jackson and the road to Seattle. We talked about this a little last time.
Oh yeah.
And this is my new formed
I see where you're going here.
Okay.
I like where you're going. Get the puppets.
In my previous thoughts, Marlene survives.
Yes.
Whatever happens with Joel. Maybe he injures her.
Wings her.
Or she lets him go. Like Lulu lets him go. Or I don't know what. It's better if she's injured because Jerry the doctor has been training Mel and a little bit of Abby. These two can nurse Marlene back to health and be given exposition through Marlene. And these characters can make their way to Seattle. And maybe Marlene is their connection to Seattle. Marlene doesn't want to have people go after Ellie and Joel because in the recordings in the first game, she knows she's making the choice that she doesn't want to make about having Ellie killed.
Mm-hmm.
And the choice has been made for her at this point. And so she doesn't want to turn back the decision now because it's already cost so much. It might as well be the way it is. And so she's kind of keeping the Abby character, whoever or whatever version of her we're getting, from doing that, but also being a reminder of that. And a way for the audience to have a window into Abby. In our last video, I was explaining how I think we'll get a touch of Abby at the end of season 1, maybe, if it's game 1. So am I making sense or not?
No, you are.
Okay.
Because you can't just jump into another character if you have a bridge into it.
You're saying we need a bridge.
We need a bridge into the new story. Think about other shows where they've done these kind of things.
Okay.
Where you have think of The Walking Dead. You're bringing in the governor character. So how do we can't just have him there suddenly. Okay, let's put Andrea and Michonne in the governor's little city.
You bring up the worst possible
That's just the one off the top of my head because I already mentioned The Walking Dead.
Okay.
It just transition. It's something to bring the characters in. You got to have a point of view you've already been around to go in.
Yeah, you're right. I see what they meant to do there, but it ruins a lot of the good reveals. That's what I think. The problem with what I brought up last time was if we are introduced to Abby, it's all spoiled, but it's not if you play the drama and the reveals in a different way.
Yeah.
So the drama could be the tension of, is she going to overreact, or is she going to go down the road of hate, revenge, and anger? And as you're seeing her in season 2, building up her hate, her anger, her body, going towards making that decision. Marlene on this shoulder saying, don't do it. Isaac on this shoulder saying, you're the soldier.
Get him.
Because the whole second game, he is her like number one scar killer. That's what Mel calls her. Isaac's top scar killer. Mm-hmm. Suddenly has a change of heart. She is his tool to attack the other, like the Seraphites. Mm-hmm. And that whole game is, stop fighting each other or whatever. So that could be Marlene.
Stop fighting each other.
Yeah, stop fighting each other.
I was going to say the same thing you're saying, that she's going to have that iffy, is she going to do it? Is she not? The angel devil on the shoulder thing. And then when she's there in the moment with the golf club, they're making a decision to do it. And you're like, oh my God. And it doesn't even happen now. Probably.
You're saying
you kind of have to. It might not, but you that's where your tension will build. And is if this character we love now, we like, is she going to do it? Because Marlene can be preaching forgiveness and let things go. In the way that she's also wounded. She's like, I'm letting it go that Joel shot me. Yeah. There's a lot of things that could go that way.
And in the first game, she was already wounded and survived. That's why she gave Ellie to them, because she needed help. And they were going to get her to other Fireflies who would get her there. Mm-hmm. And then she gets wounded again, but then it would just be kind of like another weird parallel. So if that's the Abby side of season 2, that the Ellie side is introduction to Jackson, her first girlfriend that we read about in her diary, because I read 16-year-old girls' diaries, apparently.
I do too.
Everybody who played the game did. It's kind of weird.
Did they? Some people probably skip through that shit.
I watched some playthroughs and people are just like...
I sit there and read everything I find.
What's a big shame is when you first play as Abby, she's looking for her dad. If you don't read her journal there, you're missing a lot of neat information.
I don't remember if I did.
Yeah, you find out more about Mel and Owen. And
I didn't read it then.
Yeah, Jackson, season 2.
Yes.
What would that be?
I think it's just a lot more getting to know the characters. We get to know Jackson because, I don't know, something about playing a video game, like I said before, it brings you in a lot more. You're drawn in. You are the character. So it takes a lot longer to just walk through Jackson, like when you're first playing Last of Us 2.
Okay. Yeah.
That, like, man, I've been here longer than a whole episode that the show would be.
Yeah.
Just walking through and trying to get started. So you get a feel for the place.
Yeah.
So you give that season to build up Jackson and, like, without everything sounding like shitty exposition, like what could happen in season 2, where it's like, oh, Joel, I'm going out on my rounds, gonna go do my thing that we do every Thursday at 5:00.
You're right. We build towards that.
Yeah.
Like Jesse, a bunch of people, Tommy, everybody in the second game, because I think it's a well-written game. It just has a little few issues in the joints. Every time there's an issue with where you have to, suspend your disbelief, or what is that?
Suspend your disbelief.
Suspend. That makes a lot more sense. The characters say, let's do this smart. Like, we're going to go out in groups of 2s and do this smart. Tommy says, to go to Seattle, you know how many guys it would cost to do this smart? As in, okay, we know it's dumb that 2 girls on a horse make it to Seattle just fine. I love the second game. That's wacky.
No, it's bullshit with how much shit Joel got into with her.
Yeah, they get rebarred like 8 times.
Yeah, and like, it took 2 weeks. Like, it wasn't a year later and they come in mangled, missing limbs. Maybe this time Ellie had learned from the trip she went on with Joel that I'm just not going to ride right into the middle of a fucking city in a car. She saw these dumbass mistakes when she was younger. Yeah, she's like, oh, there's a city. Let's go the fuck around it.
But the whole game, we're back on game 2 again.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, the whole thing is she is overreacting. She's just letting her
emotions reacting.
And her mostly guilt drive her.
Yeah. And honestly, it is mostly guilt.
Her thing in the second game is she didn't forgive Joel soon enough until the night before. So it's like, that's what's driving her guilt. It's not, it is a revenge story, but secretly the whole time it was a guilt story. Part of what you were saying, I think, and what I think we're both landing on for what could be a season 2. We're already talking about season 2 and we're just looking at like set photos. The story in Jackson is Ellie's new girlfriend getting comfortable with Jackson, meeting Dina when she arrives, meeting Jesse, also hiding her infection from people, getting her tattoo,
her burn, then the tattoo.
And eventually, probably halfway through season 2, you're building towards her finally acknowledging the lie that Joel told her, because you get it in the second game when her and Joel they're like doing scouting and they're looking for like guitar strings, and she's like questioning like, why'd you take me out of there when I was still knocked out? And he said, there is no cure or whatever. His face so serious, and she knows again this is not right. And so you eventually see her go back to the hospital.
I don't think we see that yet. I think they still hold those reveals. Do you think they hold those reveals for the next season?
What her like revelation?
Her revelation. Her actually, like how in the game too, we saw back throughout the game, we saw back to them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. To fill the space of 2,
we actually show it early.
Here's the season arc. Her and Joel have arrived, or they've already been there for a tiny bit, and their relationship isn't fractured yet. Somewhere around the end of or the middle of the season, she's really questioning things, and then there's a big like. If it's 10 episodes, the episode 9, the Battle of the Bastards, the Ned getting his head cut off episode is at the hospital. Tell me the truth. Whatever it is, I'll go back to Jackson. But if you don't, you'll never see me again. And then he says, creating a vaccine would have killed you. So I stopped them. And then she walks away, end of the episode. Then the finale. That could be a good way of doing that. But there is a couple, like there's a 1.5 year gap there, I think, where they're not talking.
That's kind of a cool way to come back into a new season, though. That's been a year, and you're like, wow. And you see the distance immediately in the 3rd season.
And between seasons, the season starts with her waking up, Jesse knocking on the door saying it's time to go out. The last thing we saw of Abby was her visiting Owen saying, I have a lead. His brother is in Jackson. And everyone is agreed we're all going to go and do it. And at this point, she's officially, her and Owen are done because her rage has pushed her that far. And so now Owen is with Mel, and we have the hint that she has a lead, and she has to follow up on it. And then Ellie and Joel have fractured. Game 2 starts in season 3.
I like it.
And so you're a little disconnected because it's been a couple months or something, and you don't know that right before the season started, she made up with Joel the night before the season started. So
you can still get the memories of distance between them of like, oh, they weren't cool this whole time. And you don't get the reveal that they were okay.
Yeah, you don't
until the game showed it to us.
Yeah. And that's so cool. You can get that somewhere later in the season. So
I like it.
Episode 1 would theoretically end with the golf club. But like we said, you could always just jump the gun and episode 1 of season 2 is the golf club. Who knows? I would prefer if we had season 2 to really get to know Ellie Jackson and
build these fucking characters.
And just that place. It would give more credit to that. Everyone hates subverting expectations after The Last Jedi, but it's really good to do to prove a thing about a character. And the second game was, wow, Jackson's beautiful. Oh no, there's marauders up there looking down at it. Jackson's going to be torched in this game. But no, Ellie is removed from Jackson, and she goes and helps torch this other place. And by the time she comes back, she's internally destroyed. She ruined herself and whatnot. So like she's missing the fingers. And so season 2 could build you up with Jackson and think, oh no, Jackson's going to get hurt or destroyed. And it's that same thing. Yeah. Or they actually do fry Jackson, you know? Ooh. Like when she leaves, the story in Jackson doesn't have to be abandoned. We've met characters there now. Yeah. We know Maria's there. So it's going to be like Seattle story, Jackson's story. And because they left, Tommy, Ellie, and everyone, Jackson gets what happens to the Shire in the Lord of the Rings book, where the scouring of the Shire gets taken over by Saruman. And like when they return, it's not what they
never read them, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it was Tolkien returned from the war, and everything was industrialized and different. So it's like that could happen, and it's because you left and were selfish about what you thought you needed instead of helping this beautiful community you made and it all falls apart or something.
It's-
That would be another.
It
ooh.
could also become like how Seattle was, like a warring factions.
Yeah. They're when they get back, it could be like they have the left and right wing fighting each other or something in Jackson, and it doesn't have to be an external attack or something. Like Tommy was probably a huge pillar in the community, and then he just leaves. Like in the end of the second game, him and Maria are split up,
and that's fracturing the city.
Yeah. So
something I was seeing in leak images on that page you showed me on Twitter. Maybe give a shout out here so people can know where we find all our information.
The Last of Us updates. I plugged it last time, kind of.
They were showing, looks like somebody's Snapchat or something. Like, oh, they're filming The Last of Us at my school.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, when are we seeing a school? Unless they make the inside of the school look apocalyptic, or maybe it's that one scene in the gymnasium where you see that first
the bloater. That's it. I think you're right.
It could be that, but I did see it looked like the director chairs or cast chairs, whatever you want to call them, were in the gym. And they could be doing that, or
go ahead.
They could be filming more stuff with Sarah.
Yes.
I know there's been speculation that maybe we're gonna get, because you're gonna care about Sarah dying. Everybody's going to.
It's kind of what Griddles was theorizing. I'm interrupting you again.
Yeah, I know.
That you don't find out everything that happened to Sarah until like 2 episodes in or something.
Ooh.
And so you're confused about his motivation, and you're, where is she or whatever, and then you find out she dies. They're at the school with the bloater, PTSD flashback, and he sees it's him and her. She's playing basketball. I think she actually played soccer in the games or whatever, but like she's playing basketball, and then cut to the bloater throwing a thing at him or so, and stuff like that. So you're getting flashbacks, and then you can work in Ellie's flashbacks when in the Left Behind DLC when she met her girlfriend.
Was that her girlfriend or just her friend?
Did you finish it?
Yeah, I did.
By the end, it's essential that they're basically a thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where it's established they're kind of a thing.
Yeah. I'm like, you're 14. You're not old enough to be having things. Or no, they're even younger than that. No, they weren't. Much
At that
younger.
point, she's probably about 14.
I feel like that's a mistake though, that you wait till a little bit in to give us that punch. You need to start us with the way the fucking game started.
I agree.
Because I was like, okay, this game seems all right. I mean, me playing that first game for the first time, I was like, oh, this seems all right. This is okay. Cool. And then bam, punch of the dead daughter. Like just the infected was awesome. And then boom,
the intro,
punch of the dead daughter. And then intro. And then boom.
20 years
later. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It like hits you so hard. And I think the viewing audience needs to see that pow in their face.
Okay. We'll probably get it then.
Just like, I mean, it hits hard. That's what sold me on those games.
That's Neil Druckmann gave the direction to Troy Baker. This is a broken man. He's broken. He's his watch. And he one of the lines, casting lines was, he has few moral lines left to cross.
That's so beautiful.
That's him. Like Tommy and Joel.
Joel got way too scary for Tommy.
Yeah.
Tommy was doing some bad guy shit.
He says he has nothing but nightmares from those days.
Yeah.
And then when the people attack the dam in the first game, he's like, you still know how to kill? He's like, yeah. Ooh.
Of course he does.
What was Joel doing? We might eventually see some of that. So yeah, show's going to come out and it's going to be amazing. And people are going to look back at The Walking Dead after this show and go, as much as they already do, they're going to go, oh my God. Yeah. Griddles was saying that the first episode of the show could remind us of the first episode of The Walking Dead. You can get more of how you had more Rick and Shane hanging out a little bit.
Tommy and Joel.
What if you get Tommy and Joel? Like it starts in there, he's dipping his French fries in his ketchup. Oh yeah. Don't turn off the lights in the damn house. The switch only goes one way. Talking.
You get that voice so well.
He is so good. You mean to tell me you've been hearing this your entire life? And yeah, that whole line. Dude, turn off the damn switch. Yeah, you could get to know Joel a little bit. You could have a 25-minute opening. You see the daughter.
Give me a 2-hour premiere.
People are gonna be floored when he's holding her. I hope it's as subtle as it was in the game. If you ever watched behind the scenes, there was a bit where Troy Baker was like really blowing up emotionally, and they reshot it a couple times, and it was like devastating every time for the actors because they had to do that again. But he was saying, no, it's quieter than that. It's almost like he was saying, no, Joel is not falling apart. He's dead. He dies here.
Yeah.
Joel is dead. Some other guy is born, and he's not reborn until he saves Ellie in the hospital.
Wow, you're right. You're so right.
Yeah. And he touches his watch at the very end.
And then he stops wearing it.
Does he stop?
I think so.
Because I know it's in the box and she takes it
Yeah,
with her.
but did he wear it when he went, like, because the only time we see him after that is when he's out on his little mission. I have to go back and look to see if he's wearing it, because maybe at that point he takes it off because he's not a broken man anymore.
You know what's a good game? The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that. There's a theme here. Maybe that's just our poster back here we can put up.
It's the first game and the second game, and then after a while it's just 2 of the second game. I don't know.
It's one of Abby here, Ellie there, facing each other. Like,
a lot of people still don't like the second game, and it's all up to taste. We were talking about doing a video defending the second game, defending Abby and Ellie, but mostly Abby.
there's nobody who like looks at that game and goes, "Fuck that game, Ellie sucks."
Yeah, most of the disdain is directed towards Abby. So we're thinking about making a video defending her,
Yeah.
or bringing up points why it works.
It's
for
not really
us.
it's not really defending her so much as why this is a good story.
Yeah, why it works. And I think that would be good, because for me, probably for you, like replaying the first game, yeah, it's really good, but it's not a well of depth or meaning,
Mhm.
or every time I've replayed the second game, which I've replayed it a few times, or watch clips from it, or reactions or review of it, I get more every single time. It's not a joke. Like, you realize, like, the Rat King is a symbol for the game. You defeat the game, the main game falls in, or is a big battle, and then the little zombie that breaks apart from it and runs
Yeah.
away is the Santa Barbara section of the game.
Wow.
You've defeated the monster, then you go and there's another fight that you didn't have to do. It's almost like, why are we putting ourselves through this? But it's like the point of the game. Like,
Can
how
you
far are
not
gonna
fight
take
that
it?
extra one that breaks off?
No, you have to.
Oh, okay.
It's a good metaphor for the structure of the second game.
It's also a good metaphor if you don't have to fight it, but everybody's gonna chase it down and kill it.
Yeah.
Because that's the instinct of a lot of people playing a game.
It's endless for replayability and finding something new in it every time.
I tried replaying one time, and because when you beat the game, you unlock a bunch of cheats.
Oh,
And so I put on like unlimited ammo, silencers on my full autos, and I'm like, wow, this game is not that fun anymore. So I need to really replay it and not play it that way.
my problem first time through that one was I was playing it for the story, so I did turn it on the super easiest I could. And I don't play games that much, so I suck.
You kind of have to.
Yeah, so for me, it was still challenging.
I played it on like an average difficulty, or this maybe it's not even. I might have went normal, like middle of the road difficulty,
Yeah.
average, whatever you want to call it, or one above. I'm not sure, but I do know the only time I struggled with the game was when you're playing as Abby in that little room with Ellie running around and she's setting traps and shit.
Oh, yeah.
That fucked me up a few times, and then eventually I got what I was supposed to do.
It's so unfortunate that scene is. I've seen a lot of people struggle there because it's not entirely clear what you're supposed to do, of like to throw things at her and sneak up on her or whatever. Like,
It breaks the flow there, so you're not getting that story flow. But when you get it and you get to that cutscene, whoo!
whenever Abby breaks someone's arm, I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Well,
it's violent and
And
horrible.
it's like Dina just like smash, smash, smash.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh,
It's
fuck.
horrible that it's happening, but it's such a juicy coming together of story.
Yeah.
Like-
Like two monsters going head to head.
Yes.
Unstoppable force and
yeah.
an immovable object.
Yep. Exactly. It's
Eh,
like this needed to
eh,
happen. Like, you don't want to see Harvey Dent threaten to kill a kid, but that's where the juice is.
yeah.
Like, that's the story. We're building towards this.
Yeah, it's the payoff you've been waiting the last 20, not 20 hours, maybe 12, 13 hours for. You've been waiting for this, and it's finally happening.
And a lot of people don't want to play as Abby there. They wish that it would switch over to the other person because Tommy just died, and Jesse just died. So it's like a lot of people are not wanting to. I've seen people like, no, I don't want to do this and whatever, because they think that one of them is gonna, or that you're gonna have to kill Ellie, or that just the fact that you're fighting her.
And I love that you don't know. Like, you're in that tense moment, like,
Yep.
do I have to kill Ellie? And for me, I would, like, switched Team Abby. So I was like, let's fucking kill her. Get her. Get her! Like,
That's the-
bloodthirsty. Like, I felt the revenge because I started to care about her. You got a lot more in-depth in those characters, the Seattle characters, by the time you get to that point. So I'm just like, fuck that bitch.
Yeah. Well,
She killed Mel and Owen.
some-
Mainly Owen.
somewhere around day 2, when you're around the Lev and the Yara story, which feels like I can tell they're really trying to manipulate me there, but it works. Abby crossing the sky bridges and her fear of
Oh.
heights. Somewhere in there, I knew for sure. I was like, I love this character.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Maybe it was her night with Owen and then going and doing all that for Yara. I was like, this is
A good.
I like a character who makes mistakes and who tries to do good and still falls apart and does the wrong thing, shoots Jesse in the face. Like, that's a good character.
I feel like I can relate to that though. Like in these scenarios, I'm like, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I want to try and do good things. Let me help these kids get across the fucking sky bridge. I might have got to the sky bridge and been like, I'm gonna go back this way, you guys. That's really fucking far.
Yeah.
But she's also lived majority of her life in like you could die at any second. You know, always make sure you eat your vegetables. Make sure you get your cat spayed or neutered.
Is that how we wrap up the episode? We can
No.
do that.
I'm looking forward to like things that are probably never going to happen, because a lot of what you talked about tonight was stuff that I'm just like, oh, give me that fucking story.
But
Give me that story.
It probably won't happen that way.
It's probably not going to happen exactly that way. But I feel as long as Druckmann keeps his fingers in the pie, involved, you know, I feel like we're going to get something worth watching.
We're going to have to wait till June or July.
Who is technically the showrunner? I don't know any of this.
I had a feeling that Druckmann was
If Druckmann,
co-showrunner.
if Druckmann's the fucking showrunner and he sticks with the show, it's never gonna. It's a fucking ace. Misinformation.
Just hope we don't run into the George Martin problem, and
he stops making the games.
He stops making the third game because he's focused on the show. But at the same time, if the show is like top tier quality, I don't care. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy it.
Because you don't care about playing the game anyway. You
I
get
do,
the
but
story
I
without
don't.
having to.
I just want to consume.
And it's like, do I want to buy a PS5 by the time that game comes out? $500, potentially whatever the console may cost, just to play the game. I'll let you borrow mine because I'm going to buy one to you play it.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, hype.
Masterpiece.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Neil Druckmann direct a movie. I want to see him do a film.
And it doesn't have to be apocalyptic. He could tell me.
He could do anything.
He could
like
he could
The
tell me,
Vicious Kind.
that would feel like something he could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not old enough. Never mind.
What were you gonna say?
Adam Scott as he could play Tommy. I feel like Tommy's a little younger. Not to
He could have played an interesting Joel.
That's what I was gonna say at first is Joel. If you look at him from the Vicious Kind, I'd be like, oh shit.
I swear to God, if you fuck him up, I will dig a hole and I will put you in it. I will kill you and I will put you in the fucking ground. I don't care that you're a girl. I don't give a shit. Okay?
I don't know if he's intense enough to pull off some of the Joel stuff, but he did really good in that movie.
Oh, he'll play David, the cannibal.
The cannibal. That would work.
You better nod your head or do some fucking thing so I know that you hear what I'm telling you.
Also, I'd like to see Paul Dano in there.
Yeah.
Think of him from Prisoners, like he can play a weird fuck.
He was like a sad kidnapped
Autistic
child
kid
in that movie.
Yeah.
Or what's his name? The other guy, the guy who draws puzzles.
He's in Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I just watched him in something else the other day, and I was like, what
Dune.
Oh, he's Dune. Yeah, that's what it was. I was like, what the fuck? Look, it's that guy. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah,